Sir Simon Mayall's here, retired British Army General. Sir Simon, very good morning to you, sir.
Hi, Mike. Good morning to you.
Good to talk to you. It's all a bit confusing, this strategic defence review business, isn't it? Because Starmer spent a great deal of time convincing us that 2.5% was a big deal, and then saying that his ambition was to get it to 3%. And then after sort of 48 hours of negotiations, it now turns out that Nato are going to impress upon him a 3.5% of GDP increase anyway. So, I mean, what's it all about, and what are they going to spend it on?
Well, I shouldn't be surprised that it's a bit of a muddle under a Labour government. Their heart is never really in defence, certainly as a party. I think Starmer, as Prime Minister, is probably sincere about what he wants to do. The problem with the Defence Review, and there's some very good bits in it, George Robertson, Fiona Hill, my old friend Richard Barrons have done a very good job in setting out the problem. Is that, of course, it did require a commitment really to 3%. Even John Healey has said that. And Starmer, of course, there was a time they wasn't prepared to commit to that. And now NATO, particularly under pressure from Trump, have said, well, we think we need to aim for 3.5%. Well, they can't force anything on a British government, obviously, Mike, as we know over many years. Right. All the NATO countries have been underspending. But it sets a target against which 2.5% they acknowledge can't deliver what they want in the strategic defence review now underneath what NATO believes is required. So it's a difficult situation. Then you add to the fact that we're spending huge amounts on interest. We've got all sorts of payments going out on all sorts of things most of the British public don't want, and an economy that's not growing. So it's a real conundrum. So it's going to be it's been a good intellectual exercise. There's some good things will come out of it, I have no doubt. But I suspect it's going to be just consistent headlines of failures to deliver and deadlines missed, etc.
And what do you make of all this talk of putting us on a war footing? And, you know, a lot of people have said to me, particularly listeners and viewers to this show, have said, you know, if we were really on a war footing, surely we would be spending our money a bit more wisely. We wouldn't be announcing £15 billion worth of new buses and trams for Manchester and the West Midlands today, which they're doing. We wouldn't be spending loads of money on putting migrants up in hotels and not stopping them from coming here. And all of the things that really bother people on a day-to-day basis. If we were really on a war footing, if we were really under threat, this all wouldn't be happening, surely.
All absolutely right. I mean, this is where this great gap between rhetoric, some of it, I think, realistic. I think we should be absolutely focusing on defence and security, across all of Western Europe. The Ukraine war rolls on. Whichever way it ends, Russia is going to remain, certainly under Putin, a very dangerous enemy. But the rhetoric is simply, as you say, not really matched by the reality of spending priorities or a genuine move to a sort of a mindset of war footing. I think it's a little bit over too much to talk about war footing, but we certainly need a much more resilient society, a much more robust approach to defence. And we do need to keep reminding ourselves we do need to keep the Americans locked in. You know, this amount of money we're going to spend is still dependent on the fact that the Americans are providing the defence guarantees that have always supported NATO since the end of the Second World War. So let's not think this is a replacement for the Americans. This is just stepping up and doing our bit, which I have to say the previous government, to be totally even-handed, was just as bad in doing.
No, totally. They absolutely were. I get that.
One thing there, Mike, and I think you and I have discussed before, we gave all that equipment to the Ukrainians, no problem at all with that, but that should instantly have been backfilled. So a lot of this new money is going to actually just resupply the stockpiles that should have been done actually right from the outset of our support to Ukraine.
Absolutely right. Good to talk to you, Simon Mayall. Got to leave it there, I'm afraid. We've got short of time. Retired British Army General, making perfect sense there.